Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Sometimes, just because you're late from lunch doesn't mean you're a lazy employee. You'll find out why on the example of our OP. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Breaks are 15 and 25 minutes, and when we say. So some context. I work in the machine shop fixing the tooling used in plastic injection molding, or at least I should. Half the time I'm on machines helping or making parts for maintenance because they're half a crew down and the company won't hire anyone else since it seems to be going okay without them. You know, until the times it doesn't. Naturally, machines don't stay running just because it's my break, and machining jobs are often best done in blocks to help prevent screw-ups, so it's rare that I'll ever get on break on time. I'm okay with this, my boss is okay with this. The unwritten agreement is the later I stay to help get production going, the later I can stay on break, assuming nothing else needs doing critically. So I put off my lunch by an extra half hour, and 25 minutes becomes maybe 35 minutes. Of course, there's someone that has to ruin things. There always is. One day I go late for my first break and leave less than 5 minutes late. Next thing I know, I'm in a meeting being disciplined for taking too long breaks. See, there are a few managers here that keep the whole place functioning, in spite of the rest of them. A guy that's been here for more than a decade can run things perfectly and faster than anyone else. Fired for being on his phone while he waits for the machine to do its thing because he's so quick he outpaces it? That's the kind of management we deal with here. So I decide, no more long breaks? I have to take the breaks they specify? Sure. A month passes, production is through the floor, and downtime is huge, waiting for mostly simple tool repairs. Get in there with a screwdriver and pick out the jammed bit. See, it's said that if you can afford the setup cost, you'll struggle not to make a profit on plastic molding, as in 100-pound parts every few minutes. So half an hour of downtime here, another 40 minutes there, while I wait for the operator to come back and test it because I went on break instead of doing the quick fix while they're here. It adds up. One of the managers decides to talk to me about this sudden downtime, and I mention how it worked before. Funny, now nobody mentions anything if I'm a bit late back. And our second story. Insurance company tries to screw family, gets nailed. The year was 1987-88. I was a college senior. My brother is 3 years younger than I am and was a sophomore in high school. My parents had just finished remodeling our home, especially the kitchen and bedrooms, and had taken a trip to Florida. My brother decided to have his girlfriend over for dinner and decided to cook her French fries. Now, the new stove was some sort of 80s ceramic cooktop. I can't remember the brand name, but I do remember you couldn't tell if the stove was on or off except for an orange light. These kind of stovetops only heat the pan. There's no gas or electric burner. You literally cannot tell if the stove is on other than putting your hand on it. It's a ridiculously stupid design and probably not made anymore. It wasn't induction. So my idiot brother pours oil in the pan to make French fries, and either forgets to turn the stove off or doesn't see the orange light that's still on. He goes into the other room. Did you know that hot oil doesn't evaporate? It just keeps getting hotter? Well, the oil eventually explodes all over the brand new cabinets and immediately sets the kitchen on fire. Bro has just enough time to grab the dog, girlfriend, and call fire department before running out of the house. Fire department is amazing and knocks the fire down after only burning out the brand new kitchen and dining room, significant structural and smoke damage, but house is still intact. Oh, this is all happening while my folks are on a plane back from Florida. I won't get into what happened to Bro, but suffice to say, he had to hide in the woods for a few days. Now this is where it gets good. My crazy father has a giant filing system, all paper, where he has the giant metal racks in the basement where every effing thing he ever purchased is in an accordion file on the metal shelving and some sort of ridiculous filing system that only he can use. Every effing receipt since 1963. The Vogons would be proud. So once the dust settles, my father calls the insurance company to file a claim. As we all know, insurance companies tend to be large, greedy, bureaucratic crap shows with zero interest in helping people. Insurance company starts asking for receipts. All of them. Father goes into his filing system from hell and begins producing every single receipt the insurance company asks for. Now understand that the house is unlivable at this point, the smoke damage was pretty severe, and they're stalling. Finally, they come back with an offer that is ridiculously low. Now, my father's not a calm person and hates insurance companies and lawyers more than anything. As a very successful businessman, he's had his share of lawsuits and takes particular joy in suing crooked lawyers and insurance companies, so he goes nuts when they make this lowball offer and immediately files suit against them for violating the homeowner's policy. In the meantime, he has to find suitable living arrangements from family, deal with agents, get contractor estimates, etc. I asked my father why he didn't just take the money and begin rebuilding. He says, "These effers do this to people all the time, and people have to take the money in order to rebuild. But I'm going to fight them." So he begins painstakingly researching the policy with his broker. Fast forward a few months, and I'm home for the summer and to work on rebuilding the house. The entire family is working on the house when there's a knock on the door. My brother answers. The guy says, "Are you X?" My brother says, "Yes." "Consider yourself served." The look on my brother's face was priceless, and we were hysterical. He didn't understand, and my father says, "I am suing you." My father sued my brother for negligence. The same insurance company provided us with the contents policy as well as homeowners insurance. See where this is going? The insurance company would have had to represent my brother under the homeowners policy. The insurance company called the next week, settled the case in full. The next year, insurance laws in my state was permanently changed to prevent that from ever happening again. Edit. I just spoke to my pop. Here are a few more details to the story. The fact that he had every receipt is important because after he produced all of them, the insurance company literally said, "We are not paying you the final $20K of the claim. Sue us." They knew it would cost him about that much to file suit, so he wasn't having any of that bullcrap. You think about it, insurance companies screwing policyholders like that would save them a ton of money, and most people would simply settle. Back in 1987, you absolutely could sue a family member for negligence under the same insurance company that had multiple policies on your home. The insurance law, rule, policy, whatever loophole he found, was changed forever in my state after that suit. They didn't settle the next week. His lawyer got a call the next day. I did ask if he had a copy of the suit. There was a long pause as if he was mentally finding a triplicate form. "I don't think so," he said. "I'd have asked him for the law firm he used, but he ended up suing them 10 years later on a different matter. LOL. And yes, he won. And our last story. Don't mess with Sandra. This tale was told to me as a warning when I first started my first post-college job. I'm relating it exactly as it was told to me. This occurred in the early 80s, so those of you who've grown up with the internet may not understand how we did things in the olden days. There were no smartphone apps to show Q codes for airline tickets. They were paper, with red carbon mess. Reservations were done by phone. It was primitive by today's standards. Players' names have been changed, of course. Sandra, super sweet secretary, loved by all. True, I worked with her. She was amazing. Fred, Sandra's boss. Tom, local VP. Big Shot, incoming manager from back east. Al, lead engineer on the team. This occurred in Salt Lake City, which, if you don't know, family was a huge part of culture. Even at work, family matters took precedence, and local management knew this and allowed for it. Well, Big Shot's office minions in another corporate location noticed some slight irregularities in time cards, like days off without pre-approved vacation requests, so he got himself transferred to the Salt Lake City office to straighten things out. He was pushy, and naturally, he was quickly hated. Big Shot ended up as a middle manager between Tom, at the top, and Fred. One morning, Sandra got a call from her daughter was unexpectedly in town and wanted to have lunch. Naturally, Fred and Tom gave her the okay. Big Shot didn't like that, although it wasn't explained why. Maybe it wasn't by the book, maybe he was upset that Sandra went over his head. In any event, he decided to stick his nose in. But rather than just say no, he dropped a last-minute urgent travel request on Sandra's desk. And it had to be done because he expected to fly out that afternoon. Sandra was heartbroken that she wouldn't get to see her daughter, but she had her work responsibilities. Stopping by to drop off some paperwork, Al noticed that Sandra looked a little down, a huge change from her normal chipper mood. He naturally asked why, and Sandra explained. Al told her, He had no authority, by the way, to go have lunch, and we'll take care of it. Big Shot got his travel packet, got on the plane that afternoon, and flew off to his meeting. That's when things started to go wrong. The rental car reservation was invalid, and there were no cars available at any of the agencies. All had a hold on them pending confirmation from some clients. So Big Shot ended up getting a rent-a-wreck. For those of you too young or not in the U.S., there was a really discount auto rental agency by that name. Quality was not job one. When Big Shot got to the hotel, he found that his reservation was no good. He had to wait around until after the tentative reservations expired, which was after 6 p.m. Getting suspicious, Big Shot looked at his tickets and found they were one way. He had no flight home. To say Big Shot was incensed was probably an understatement. The next morning, Tom flew in to join him, and he gave Big Shot a packet that was marked extremely urgent that had been left on his desk with a note to take to Big Shot. It was Big Shot's return ticket. On the way back, Big Shot detoured by the corporate head office and got a very senior exec to come with him because of some very serious personnel problems. The next morning, Big Shot led the senior exec and Tom into a meeting with all of Fred's department and began publicly berating Sandra for incompetence and so on. When he got to the part about the tickets, Fred interrupted and told the senior exec that Sandra couldn't have done that. She was on approved time off having lunch with her daughter. This raised the senior exec's eyebrows and got Big Shot even angrier. The senior exec said if Sandra didn't mess up the tickets, who did? Fred stepped forward, then Al. And one by one, every single member of Fred's team stepped forward to take responsibility to protect Sandra from Big Shot's wrath. Tom and the senior exec knew instantly what had happened. Everyone on Fred's team had burned up the phones making tentative reservations for rental cars and hotel rooms, leaving Big Shot stuck with a one-way ticket, worthless reservations, and no alternatives. Within the hour, Big Shot's desk was empty and his badge had been turned in. It was never explained if Big Shot was fired or if he was just quickly relocated. The senior exec stuck around to get to know the team. He was very impressed with how the whole team stuck together and protected their own. After he finished telling me the tale, the engineer said bluntly, "Don't mess with Sandra. We love her, and we will make you pay if you upset her." Message received loud and clear. As I worked with Fred's team, I got to understand why everyone loved Sandra. She was an absolute gem in the organization, efficient, super friendly, just an all-around wonderful person. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.